Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, the audience. How are you? I hope you all are in the good conditions today. First of all, I'd like to thank the Almighty God because of His grace we can gather in this contest. Secondly, may salat and salam always be delivered to our Prophet Muhammad SAW, who had brought us from darkness into this bright modern era that we live in today. Last but not least, I'd like to thank all the judges for this special opportunity in this contest. My name is Talitha Safa and I'm from Senior High School 2 Bangkalan, standing here to deliver my speech. Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine how's life as a Generation Z in this era? Well, I'm going to tell you about it. But first of all, let me explain what is generation in general. Generation can be interpreted as a collection of individuals who have the same lifetime. Each generation changes every 15 years. There are 4 generations that we are usually here, namely baby boomers, millennial generation, Generation Z, and the latest is the Alpha generation. Every generation has different year span. According to Beresford research, Generation Z is a generation born between 1997 to 2012, and it's between 11 to 26 years old in 2023. Alexis Abramson, an expert in generational clustering, said that differences in the time of birth produce different generational characteristics. As we know, the environments that we live in today are very different from the environment several decades ago. Abramson revealed that the generational characteristics he has mentioned are general in nature and can differ at individual level. So, let's talk about Generation Z. As we mentioned earlier, Generation Z is a generation born between 1997 to 2012. Generation Z is truly the first generation that lived in the digital world. Smartphone and social media are not seen as the platforms and devices, but rather as a way of life. I know, it sounds crazy, but several studies support this claim. A study by Goldman Sachs found that nearly half of Gen Zs are connected online for 10 hours a day, or even more. Generation Z is said to have the advantage of being able to carry out various activities at one time. For the example, using a computer, playing social media, and also listening into music at the same time. Generation Z is known to be more independent than previous generations. They don't wait for their parents to teach them how to do things and tell them how to make decisions. So, what do you think about Gen Z's feeling? Well, I'm 16 years old and I live in the era that influx of information and also pressure. I spend 9 hours a day of school, 4 hours to take course, and also 3 hours on Saturday to do my extracurricular at my school. I have so much things to do and I usually think about it too much. I'm worried I can do it by myself. Well, this is me, and I am a part of Generation Z. But as a Generation Z in this era and it's overwhelming, I'm going to share with you the struggle dealing with technology, the pressure, and also the impact of Gen Z's feeling. Generation Z is expected to understand the technology. I'm sure that most of you think as a Generation Z we live very peaceful and easy to live life. But Generation Z goes with the technology does not always provide benefits. Several studies say that Generation Z is a generation that was born and grew up with technology. So, it's not surprising that the anxiety that grips these generations comes from social media. The pandemic was arguably the biggest test of resilience. Disruption of education, job losses, financial uncertainty, and social isolation have all weighed heavily on Gen Z's shoulders. In fact, this generation is considered to be more individualistic and a racist behavior in the circle is considered a normal thing to set a Generation Z. Tends to lack verbal communications, tends to want everything instant, impatient, and does not appreciate the process. As the younger generation, we must be wise and take action. Even though we were born as a generation that live in the era that influx force a lot of information and technology, we must not let technology destroy us, especially our minds. As the younger generation who belong to Generation Z, we have the challenges in the current era of globalization. Generation Z needs some skills, especially in adaptation, communication, and creativity are the skills that Generation Z needs to compete in the future world of work. Generation Z must understand the importance of these skills and continue to improve them, so that they are ready to face the challenges in the current era of globalization. Finally, that's all for my speech. I hope you all learned something new from it. Thank you so much for the attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.